Hi, everybody. Welcome to this new podcast called Real Talk with Rick. My name is Rick Getcho, and I am the city manager for the city of Eden Prairie. In this podcast, I will be interviewing different guests associated with and involved with the city of Eden Prairie. My guest on this episode is Chamber President Pat MulQueeny. Pat has been the president of the Eden Prairie Chamber since 2003 and has experience with other area regional chambers of commerce before that. Pat and I talked about how businesses get involved with the chamber, what are some different trends that chambers are dealing with, and most importantly, what Pat thinks about his beloved Minnesota Vikings year ahead. So here is my talk with Pat MulQueeny, president of the Eden Prairie Chamber of Commerce. Pat, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Before we get into the chamber and your background, we're going to start out with probably the most important question of the entire podcast, and that is, can the Minnesota Vikings defend their division title against my beloved Green Bay Packers?
Oh, absolutely.
You think so? What's the record going to be? We were going to record this, and then we're going to check at the end of the season. What's the Vikings record going to be this year?
I have the Vikes at 11-5. They have, I think, the strongest defense, which will carry them. They have a good enough offense and a good enough special teams. Okay. Tougher schedule.
It is a tougher schedule. Where are the Packers going to end up?
I think they're going to be very close. They could be 11-5, 10-6, right in that ballpark, and the Bears, Lions at the bottom. Not a Lions-Bears fan.
People forget the Lions actually finished in second place last year. My Packers were third, but your predictions are now official, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
All right.
I know you're a big fan. Pat, thanks for coming. As we talked about earlier, these podcasts are interview format. I want to start with knowing a little bit about you and your background. So I know you've been with the Chamber for how many?
16
years. So why don't you talk a little bit about where you grew up and some of your other work, because everyone's wondering, how does one become a chamber president?
Yeah, my background, I grew up in the Glen Lake part of Minnetonka, so kind of a stone's throw away from Eden Prairie, and love the area, love Eden Prairie. It's a great business community, obviously, and high accolades, places to live, work, and play, all those good things. My background to how I got to the position I'm in is I'm a Minnesota guy. Obviously, went to Mankato State, even though it's Minnesota State University, Mankato now. But graduated there. First real job out of college, I worked for the Minnesota Safety Council, which is also a nonprofit business association, like a Chamber of Commerce is. And really got my feet wet there in association work, was one of their membership people. Had the opportunity to go to the Minneapolis Chamber as one of their managers, so managed a number of their programs, member outreach, some data analysis while I was there. Was there not quite 5 years, and then had the opportunity to be the executive director. At that time, it was the Chaska Chamber, and now has since become the Southwest Metro Chamber. So that was my first executive role in the Chamber of Commerce, and really enjoyed it. And then from there went to the Apple Valley Chamber. But I tell the story that I always wanted to be the Eden Prairie Chamber president. And I remember the day on the old fax machine, back when we had fax machines.
I remember.
At the Apple Valley Chamber office when the job announcement came for the Eden Prairie position. And so I was fortunate enough to be selected. And like you said, been here 16 years. And every day is different. Every day brings new challenges, new opportunities, and it's been an exciting run. So
absolutely. I've been here 7 years. I've been able to work with you the entire time I've been here as a counterpart on the chamber. And I think that's a lot of what we want to talk about, obviously, is chamber business, chamber work. Maybe just starting in general, could you maybe talk a little bit about not only the Eden Prairie Chamber, but people might have, not the fullest understanding, if they're not part of the business community or chamber community, what the primary purpose is. What is a chamber? What's its purpose?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'll probably start, highlight our mission and vision that kind of gives a general overview of that. So our mission is leaders for community prosperity and advocates for business. And then tying into that's our vision statement, which is to ensure prosperity in a community by promoting commerce and by enhancing our member business success through leadership, advocacy, and growth opportunities. And so probably in the vision statement really identifies our focus areas, which is probably more or less chamber focus areas. And that is, you want to provide leadership opportunities for your members. You want to help them grow and succeed with their businesses. A lot of times for us, that means programming, networking opportunities, helping them build connection points with other business people. Advocacy, we do advocate on behalf of our businesses. A lot of that will take place at the state level, sometimes with city and city council issues. We've been fortunate enough to have great relationships, so that hasn't been as heavy a lift for us. But the state level and at the federal level, you see a lot of different things that come about in terms of impacts on business. So for Chambers of Commerce, we do advocate on behalf of our businesses, and then we look for growth opportunities for those businesses. So again, if it's programs or seminars or other things that we offer them to help their businesses be successful, and that ties into that mission statement, leaders for community prosperity. So the better our business community does, the better our community as a whole will do as well. And as you and I have talked before, strong relationships between the business community and the city and the school district are critical to having a very prosperous community, and a lot of the accolades that Eden Prairie has seen is based on all of us being successful.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about there's as many people who live here as there are who work here. And there's a crossover with some of the two, but some just work here, they don't live here, some do both. So when you think about businesses in Eden Prairie, and there are a lot and varied businesses of many different sizes as well, how do they usually become members of the chamber? How does that happen? And tell me about membership.
Yeah, so we currently have close to about 400 businesses that are chamber members. Within that, they represent over 34,000 area employees. And any business can join. They don't have to be located in Eden Prairie. Not all of our businesses are located here. But the main focus for the businesses is really connecting with the Eden Prairie community, especially our business community, obviously. And, we have businesses from sole proprietors up to the Fortune 500s that are members. The bulk of our membership really reflects the community. So you'll see most of our members are smaller businesses, probably 1 to 20 employees. They represent what you see in our community. So we have a lot of professional service companies, a lot of manufacturers, retail, restaurants, those types of businesses that are engaged and involved with what we do and who we are. And we're very fortunate for that, because those business individuals will help us be successful, and at the same time have a vision for the future to help our businesses continue to grow and be prosperous. Here, as we've discussed, there's not a lot of empty land left for just creating and building new things. So we count on our business community to do a lot of things, and in the future we'll see probably some transformations within the community because of the maturity of Eden Prairie on land. But overall, I think any of the businesses can get involved, and we've been fortunate enough to have some of those major players do some heavy lifting for our organization.
Yeah, I when I think about being at some of your events, even before your board, I think that diversity is reflected in involvement in the chamber. You've got, whether it's the 2 or 3 biggest companies in Eden Prairie or the state, to, like you said, a business that might employ 1 to 5 people. I've seen that on your board as well, and people that are active. You want that mix of all different types of businesses. You serve everybody. Maybe talk too about programming. What do you do? What are some of the programs and events and activities?
Yeah, so we do probably any given year anywhere from 85 to over 100 different events and programs. As I mentioned, most of our members are smaller businesses. We just wrapped up a major survey with our membership, and taking a look at the breakdown. Those smaller businesses, not surprising, want networking opportunities. They want to have programs where they can successfully meet other business people, talk about their business, have others learn about their business so they can help them find new clients or maybe better vendors to save them dollars. So you'll see, if you go to our calendar events, a lot of those types of programs. We also, our chamber is a heavy partner program, meaning I've been a strong believer in coordinating different events with other organizations. We have quarterly programs with the Bloomington, Edina, and Richfield chambers. One coming up later this month that is focused on cybersecurity for businesses. So we bring in outside speakers, outside experts on topics that are pertinent to our business community so that they can learn from them and gain knowledge. We also help them connect elected officials. One of the big events we do every year is the State of the City Luncheon, where yourself and myself and our superintendent of our schools talk about the things that are going on in our community. And that's been a great program for us to help connect the dots in terms of the leadership from each organization is there. People are able to meet the mayor, meet city council members, meet school board members, meet board members from the Chamber of Commerce. So those are the types of programs we put on, but we also, again, relating back to the survey results, it was interesting that the majority of our members, didn't matter large or small, shared that they've developed relationships that have supported personal and career development through the Chamber of Commerce. And I think that's important because one, we want people making those connections to gain skills, but we also want individuals to be able to grow in their career paths and stay in this area for jobs and not lose those skilled employees. So.
And I think that's probably something people don't think about or know about when they think about a chamber. They might think about the networking and the luncheon meetings and the chance to hear speakers, and also the advocacy part. So when people think about maybe the U.S. Chamber, the state chamber, what are their positions on X, Y, and Z? What are the chambers? Where do they line up? And you mentioned that, but that's interesting. This piece about I'm in the chamber for some of these career development tools. Is that probably a new trend? I think the other thing I noticed too, and you're probably going to get to this, is when you did look at your calendar, there'd be the monthly chamber meeting or luncheon meeting, but now when you look at your calendar, you have a lot of business event or breakfast business events or after hour events actually at some of these businesses. So it looks like you're getting out to the businesses, or you're having a different way to deliver or have people get together than the typical meeting at the hotel
right
for lunch.
Right, and I think that's important too, because we know business people have different types of schedules. Some people's schedule lunch is easier, but we do know beginning of the day, end of the day, a lot of times they're easier to accommodate in business professional schedules. So we do try to match up to that. We also look at additional opportunities. One of the big programs we launched a few years ago was the Twin Cities Young Professional Summit. That is a major regional event. We've held it 3 years now with attendance right around 150 young professionals from across the Twin Cities that attend that half-day seminar or summit with breakout speakers and keynotes. This past year, we even had individuals come up from Nebraska to attend that program. So for us, it's programs for our businesses, and then looking at bigger picture things as well to see what else do we need to do. Young professionals is a big component of the future. As we've talked, light rail and other things in Eden Prairie that will attract and retain those young professionals for our community, both as a business opportunity, but as future residents, and making sure that we have a good, vibrant community from that perspective as well.
So is that, and obviously providing what people are looking for and what they need. The young professional piece, I think I saw that where you had, I think it was Mike Veck with the Saints was the speaker and attracting a lot of people even regionally. What are these trends that you're seeing? Is it that younger members or what are some of the trends?
Yeah, so I would say there's a number of trends, and probably maybe not surprising. I think if you go back to the recession when businesses made cutbacks and laid off individuals, there's been a kind of a focus within businesses in terms of a kind of a new streamlining approach. People are busier. I don't think businesses have hired as much as maybe in previous years, and so people are doing more with less. And at the same token, you'll see businesses, the young professional focus, wanting to get the best talent because there's some very talented individuals out there coming out of colleges and other venues that really are creative and can build the future of different businesses. And we want to capture that here. Some other trends I would say is businesses have just gotten sharper with their pencils. They want to see more return on investment. Mm-hmm. So the years ago, chambers might have people that join because it's the right thing to do, want to support their business, and they felt that's all they really needed to do. Nowadays, businesses are looking at, well, join, but what's the return on investment for us? Is it we're going to gain new clients, much like some of our smaller businesses join for that purpose, or is it more of a community focus, which we see with some of the larger businesses? Some of those stakeholder businesses want to be involved and help our organization work with the city, work with the schools to make sure the community is a good place now and into the future, because that's how they're going to attract additional people to work there and see the results they want to see.
So your job's tougher these days.
It is tougher.
A little more difficult because it isn't
tougher.
A matter of here's the chamber, everyone joins the chamber, get the sticker, hang it out in front of your business store.
I wish it was that easy.
Yes. But that's a good point. What is in it for me? I think you see that a lot with, at least even from a city perspective. This is nationally getting volunteers to join even nonprofit organizations or to volunteer. Time is so precious. Things are moving quickly, but obviously you're trying to stay ahead of that curve and offer a return for all different types of businesses. Obviously, you're using technology too, I think.
Yeah, we are in a lot more data analysis because as you do more programming and you have different businesses, we mentioned the different sizes, different types. So there's no one size fits all in terms of the offerings that the chamber has to put together to match that. So we got to be smart with what our resources are, which means we review, and we'll be doing that this week with our survey results and our board of directors. But what programs do members want? What's the best value? Some of the other things that we offer. We're a partner with Office Depot. They have a national program with Chambers of Commerce that offers discounts to our members that shop there. And, some of those discounts are pretty sizable when you start talking hundreds of dollars on, one print job. We've had members say, things that they've done have paid for their membership for 3 years because of the discount they've gotten through Office Depot. So that's one of the other trends is, besides programming other things, what types of services and benefits can we offer that our members would value and take advantage of?
Yeah, and are you seeing, and you talked about the recession and sharpening of pencils and whatnot, and I don't know if you saw a drop in chamber membership in Eden Prairie, but that's probably, 10 years ago now, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Did you see that, and did it level off? Is it growing now? I know the survey results were getting positive feedback on how people feel they're doing with their business and their revenue and bringing more employees in. Is that reflected in our membership? It's
reflective in certain segments of membership. I think and I've just finished serving on the National Board of Directors for Chambers of Commerce, and so some insight there in terms of national trends, and this isn't just chambers, this is, as you mentioned, other nonprofits, associations, and groups that kind of rely on volunteers, that there is that leveling off, that I don't want to say, there's only so many members you can have, because I'm not so sure that's the right answer, but there's a reality of that membership is not maybe first and foremost on businesses' minds, so that you do have to do more. As you mentioned, it's tougher. It is to get your message out there. We're in a technology age where people can find information, at their desktop or on their computer or on their phone even. And so chambers, much like other associations, struggle with trying to grow membership. I think most kind of see that flat line in terms of membership. And so then it's the impact and the return on investment. And, I mentioned the data analysis, and we're doing that, and others have as well, to say, well, which businesses are the right fit for us, and which ones should we focus on in terms of service. Obviously, for us, we have Eden Prairie as our service district that we want to focus on, but it's also how do we provide the right programs and opportunities. That limited resource piece really plays a critical component, and that isn't just us. That's other organizations, chambers, other associations. That
nationally, it's an issue nationally. So, I guess that's maybe one of the last questions related to the chamber is what do you see for the next 5 years? I know the chamber's done a strategic plan. You're active nationally. Yeah. This is kind of what you do. Maybe I don't know, following the trends of business growth and development nationally. But what do you see? What do you, if you are thinking 5-10 years ahead, and assuming you'll still be president here, I am. What do you see? What does it look like?
I think for us, we still capitalize on volunteers, even though it may be tougher to get volunteers, just because the time commitment, and there's a lot of other opportunities out there, and people have to pick and choose where they want to allocate time and resources. I think for us, we're going to be counting more on our board of directors. We have a great ambassador committee and other volunteers that serve on workforce and those types of things. And I think the volunteers play a critical role for us in particular, because workforce and public policy issues we see as becoming more important. And I say that just because of the trends you see nationally, and now coming to the Twin Cities with ordinances that the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul passed that are directly on businesses. And we are concerned, and businesses are concerned with that model, because multiple locations for a business mean multiple rules you have to follow, and how do you apply those to different employees? If minimum wage in Minneapolis is $15 an hour and you're paying somebody 10 or 12 in Eden Prairie, but you have a facility in Minneapolis, how do you balance that out, and how do you make that work? So I think volunteers will be a critical component moving forward. Workforce, I mentioned, is a big one, because as everybody knows, there's jobs out there that go unfulfilled. There's jobs out there that struggle to even get applicants. And there's certain pieces of that we can tackle. And I also think a regional approach is a component that many of our chamber partners working on as well, and the state chamber as well. But I think in terms of those, what do you see 5-10 years out there, workforce is going to be a critical component, public policy, and then helping our businesses grow and be successful, that entrepreneurial spirit, and that ties back into the school district as well, as helping our kids understand career paths that they can utilize, whether that means, high school degree, post-secondary, 2-year, 4-year certification programs and things of that nature. And so that's probably our big focus areas. And then, continuing to make sure we have strong partnerships like with the city and the school district to make Eden Prairie as great a community as it is, and continue that moving forward.
Well, absolutely. The partnership, the city and chamber have worked together very well for a number of years. Just the idea that I was able to get you in here as one of the first guests, I think speaks to, our relationship with the chamber and hearing about what you're working on. So, no, much appreciated, Pat. You're your work on behalf of businesses, I know is appreciated when the mayor and economic development manager and I do business meet and greets. We talk about chamber membership, chamber involvement, how things are getting the temperature of the community. You do a survey. We communicate frequently on issues going on. And the climate it's a positive climate right now, but you never rest on that. You always plan ahead and think ahead and improve. So thank you for that. Now, a little bit personally, we started out personally knowing that you were a big Viking fan and getting your predictions on the coming year. So that was a good start. I thought we could end on maybe just doing a little lightning round.
All right.
This or that. You have to pick. You have to make a choice between the two items that I throw at you. So you have to pick one. I'm going to fire them at you, and we're going to kind of know where you stand on some of these big issues.
Excellent.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Your preference, Pat, phone call or text?
Phone call.
Cardio or weights?
Cardio.
Facebook or Twitter?
Facebook.
Work hard or play hard?
I have to choose between that, huh? Play hard.
Nice. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee, and the hotter the better.
Nice. TV or a book?
Years ago it would have been a book. Now it would be TV.
What changed?
Probably
better TV than books.
No, I wouldn't say that, but more of an appreciation of certain types of programs. I still do the books, but I'm more, I find myself not reading all the way through books, more skimming, more note-taking, and more business books versus, maybe years ago, mystery books or, those types of novels. So.
Got it. Good. Card game or board game?
I'd have to say board game. Well, although there's certain card games that I would consider a board game. So.
Oh, now we're mixing the two.
So
okay.
If we said
cribbage?
No, not that kind of card game. No. But if you did like Cards Against Humanity or some of those
Cards
popular
Against
ones.
Humanity. No,
I play that more often than cribbage or
All right.
poker.
My teenage girls play Cards Against Humanity. That's a future podcast. You and I playing Cards Against Humanity. That would be fascinating. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Sneakers or flip-flops?
Sneakers.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Me too. Soup or sandwich?
Sandwich.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Oceans or mountains?
Mountains.
Dancing or singing?
Dancing. Sunrise
or sunset?
Sunset.
Finally, Thielen or Diggs?
Thielen.
Whoa, that was quick. Is that the Minnesota connection?
It's a Minnesota connection, and I got a story to go with that. I was at training camp his first year where he wasn't on the team. I don't know. I can't remember if they invited him or he was a walk-on or how that played out, but watching him, and I actually have it just popped up on my Facebook as one of those memories you share. And I have a photo from that, and my comment was something about he was catching everything, and he literally stood out. I mean, it was amazing the catches he made and that year he made the practice squad, and he really just impressed me when I was watching it. And, of course, he's a Mankato guy and Minnesota guy. So.
I should have known, but, yeah, absolutely, up through the practice squad versus a higher round draft pick. But you still like Diggs. Is he going to be worth every penny that he was just signed to?
Let's hope so. We need him to be.
We shall see. Pat, thanks so much.
All right. Yep. Hey, question for you. Is Rodgers going to get his money?
Rodgers is going to get his money, and he's going to stay healthy, as if I can guarantee that, right? And it's going to be a close divisional race. You're right. I'm with you. So. Could go either way. They'll both make the playoffs.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.